Chuck Connors, Hollywood's legendary rifleman, passed away in 1992. However, his legacy extends beyond his television program. Connors' life was as dramatic as any Western, from his covert involvement in Cold War diplomacy to the startling events that nearly derailed his career. The truth has finally been revealed, 30 years later. How a Brooklyn baseball player became a Soviet idol and why his 3 marriages ended in scandal. And the sinister secret he concealed until his death. Chuck Connors was born in Brooklyn, New York, on April 10, 1921, as Kevin Joseph Aloysius Connors. Alan and Marcella Connors, his parents, were Irish immigrants who labored tirelessly to support their family during the challenging years of the Great Depression. Chuck's father was employed as a docker, and his mother performed minor tasks to supplement their income. Although life was challenging, it instilled in Chuck the importance of diligence. Chuck was raised in a working-class neighborhood and spent a significant amount of time participating in athletics at the Bay Ridge Boys Club. He had a passion for baseball and aspired to play for the Brooklyn Dodgers in the future. Chuck's existence underwent a significant transformation at the age of 14. Scouts were drawn to his athletic abilities, and he was granted an athletic scholarship to Adelphi Academy, a private secondary school located in Brooklyn. He capitalized on this substantial opportunity. He demonstrated exceptional talent in a variety of disciplines, including football, basketball, baseball, and track, during his time at Adelphi. In 1939, Chuck was recognized as one of the top high school athletes in Brooklyn, and he was a standout first baseman on the baseball field. Chuck was offered athletic scholarships by over 25 institutions after he graduated from high school. He selected Seton Hall University in New Jersey, where he competed in both basketball and baseball. He was a reserve center on the basketball court, utilizing his height and defense to assist the team in achieving victory. However, baseball was the sport in which he truly distinguished himself. Chuck recorded 6 RBIs and 2 home runs during a memorable contest in 1942, attracting the attention of professional recruiters. Chuck eventually acquired the nickname that has become synonymous with him during this period. He would exclaim "Chuck it to me" while playing first base, and the name stuck. World War II interrupted Chuck's undergraduate years. He enlisted in the Army in 1942 and received training at Fort Knox. He was selected as a tank warfare instructor due to his athletic abilities and height. He subsequently became employed at West Point, where he provided training to soldiers and even instructed renowned football players who went on to win national championships. Chuck maintained an interest in athletics, despite his military service. During his leisure time, he participated in semi-professional baseball in Brooklyn and even played professional basketball in the American Basketball League. Chuck was honorably discharged from the Army in 1946 after serving for 3 years. Upon his discharge from the Army, he became a member of the Boston Celtics during their inaugural season in 1946. He was a forward and center, standing at a height of 6 feet 5 inches. In that season, Connors participated in 49 games and averaged 4.5 points per game. On December 13, 1946, he achieved his highest tally of 15 points in a close victory over the Providence Steamrollers. However, his basketball career was short-lived. Connors departed the Celtics in February 1947 to pursue his other aspiration, baseball, after only a few months. He received his significant opportunity with the Brooklyn Dodgers on May 1, 1949, however, it did not commence well. The Dodgers suffered a defeat in his sole appearance for the team, as Connors hit into a double play. He persevered in the minor leagues, where he played for teams such as the Montreal Royals, rather than surrendering. In 1951, he returned to the major leagues with the Chicago Cubs. During that season, he participated in 66 games and experienced several significant occasions. He launched his inaugural home run against the New York Giants on July 18, 1951. He hit another one against the Giants 1 month later, on August 26. By the conclusion of the season, Connors had 48 hits and a batting average of .239. Not terrible for an individual who divides his time between 2 sports. The narrative of Chuck Connors in Hollywood began in the most unexpected manner. He was a member of the Los Angeles Angels, a minor league team, in 1952. During a game against the Sacramento Solons on a sunny afternoon, an unusual occurrence occurred. Chuck executed an enormous home run. However, it was not a mere home run. It surpassed the fence and attracted the attention of Billy Gordon, a casting director from MGM, who was present in the audience. Billy was unable to disregard Chuck's gruff visage and tall, robust stature. He entered the locker room immediately following the contest and presented Chuck with his card. He advised him to consider pursuing a career in acting. However, Chuck did not regard it as a significant matter. He was preoccupied with baseball and did not perceive himself as an actor. Chuck sustained an injury during a game just a few weeks later. Although it was not life-threatening, it afforded him the opportunity to contemplate. He decided to visit MGM out of curiosity to investigate the nature of this acting phenomenon. He was taken aback when they promptly extended an invitation to participate in a screen test. He attempted it, and they were impressed by the results. Chuck executed his initial Hollywood contract 3 days later. His existence was irrevocably altered by that hasty decision. He made his debut in the romantic comedy Pat and Mike, which starred Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn, two iconic Hollywood figures. Chuck's contribution was diminutive. Although he was portraying a police commander, it was a significant milestone for an actor who had recently begun his career. Chuck was both enthusiastic and apprehensive on the day of his filming debut. He arrived early and spent several hours preparing. Although his scene was not scheduled until late that evening, he executed it flawlessly in just 2 takes when the cameras ultimately rolled. Spencer Tracy even approached him afterwards and informed him, "You possess something. Persist in your efforts." Chuck was deeply moved by those remarks, which instilled in him the necessary courage to persist. After that, Chuck threw himself into the world of acting. He assumed any position that was available to him, regardless of its size. He appeared in more than 20 films between 1952 and 1958. Some of his most memorable early roles included the portrayal of Bernd Sanderson in Disney's Old Yeller, 1957. The film was an enormous success, and it served to further elevate Chuck's profile. Additionally, he appeared in films such as The Big Country, in which he acted alongside Gregory Peck and Charlton Heston, and Trouble Along the Way, in which he starred alongside John Wayne. Each role contributed to his development as an actor and the establishment of his reputation. Connors appeared in 18 distinct television programs during this period, in addition to his film work. At that time, it was uncommon for actors to balance their careers in both film and television. However, Connors' adaptability and work ethic enabled him to achieve success in both mediums. The subsequent chapter of his career was prepared by the 6 years of diligent work, a variety of roles, and screen time that exceeded 1,400 minutes. In The Rifleman, Chuck Connors achieved fame as Lucas McCain. However, this did not occur immediately. In 1957, Connors portrayed a patriarch in Disney's Old Yeller. The producers of The Rifleman were impressed by his performance and believed that he was an ideal candidate for the program. Initially, Connors declined the offer due to the fact that the compensation was lower than what he was earning from his other acting roles. However, the producers were genuinely interested in him, and they extended an additional offer of compensation, as well as granting him a 5% stake in the show. This convinced him to accept the position. Connors initiated his training regimen upon receiving his casting. He honed his equestrian riding skills and acquired the ability to spin and fire a rifle in a manner that was visually appealing. He collaborated with Rod Redwing, a firearms specialist, to perfect the techniques. Connors' palms developed blisters and soreness as a result of his extensive practice. However, he continued to work on it until he achieved the desired outcome. The show was introduced on September 30, 1958, and it was promptly well received by the audience. The initial episode was viewed by more than 14 million viewers. Lucas McCain, the character portrayed by Connors, was both stern and kind, particularly towards his son Mark, who was portrayed by Johnny Crawford. The father-son relationship became one of the most beloved aspects of the program. Connors was praised by critics for effectively conveying both emotion and fortitude. The rifle that was featured in the program was also particularly noteworthy. It was not a typical rifle. It was a Winchester 1892 that had been customized to create a distinctive appearance. The lever was designed to be extra large to enable Connors to rotate it in a flashy manner in order to cock the gun. This rotating maneuver became his signature and was demonstrated at the commencement of each episode. The rifle was also capable of firing at an exceptionally high rate of fire due to a unique screw in the trigger. This resulted in thrilling sequences in which McCain was able to outgun a group of villains in a matter of seconds. The rifle was so well received that Winchester subsequently produced a comparable model for its actual customers. However, the program was not exclusively focused on action. The Rifleman's emphasis on family was what distinguished it. In the Old West, Lucas McCain was a bereaved father who was responsible for the care of his son independently. This was not a common occurrence on television at the time, as the majority of families were depicted as having both parents. The show frequently investigated the obstacles Lucas encountered in his roles as both a protector and a father. In one episode, he was hesitant to allow Mark to testify in court due to his concerns regarding his son's protection. In another instance, Lucas was compelled to regulate his own wrath while instructing Mark on how to manage his emotions. Lucas and Mark's relationship was authentic and resonated with a significant number of television viewers. Single fathers, in particular, composed letters to Connors, expressing their gratitude for demonstrating that they were not alone in their challenges. One deceased expressed his determination to persist in his endeavors by stating, "Your program has provided me with the strength to persevere." The Rifleman's protagonist, Chuck Connors, was not the only one. Additionally, he played a significant role in the background. He began participating in writers' meetings by the second season. He proposed story concepts, and some of them were subsequently selected as fan-favorite episodes. One of these, The Photographer, was motivated by an encounter that Connors had with an overly enthusiastic admirer during his baseball career. Additionally, Connors ensured that the dialogue was consistent with the character of Lucas McCain. He desired for McCain to sound like a genuine rancher from that era. Consequently, he frequently revised lines to incorporate antiquated vernacular. McCain's relatability was also a priority for Connors. He did not wish for McCain to be perceived as a flawless hero. Rather, he advocated for narratives that illustrated McCain's moral dilemmas and shortcomings. McCain unintentionally kills an innocent man in an episode titled Waste because he believed it was crucial to demonstrate the significant responsibility associated with carrying a rifle. Additionally, Connors recruited guest performers, such as his former baseball teammate Duke Snider, and facilitated the careers of emerging actors, such as Dennis Hopper, who appeared in the pilot episode. Connors' influence was so significant that he was recognized as a story consultant on certain episodes by the conclusion of the season. Additionally, he collaborated on the two-part series finale, ensuring that all loose ends were resolved and that old characters were revisited. In its inaugural season, The Rifleman achieved the fourth highest rating on television, a significant accomplishment in light of the intense competition. It premiered on September 30, 1958, and garnered a Nielsen rating of 33.1, reaching 14.6 million households. Many viewers were attracted to the father-son relationship, while others were captivated by the exhilarating action sequences. In February 1959, 78% of viewers reported that they watched the program for the familial bond, while 92% of male viewers aged 18 to 49 found the action to be enjoyable. The show's popularity resulted in the sale of merchandise, including miniature rifles, lunchboxes, and comic books, which generated $2 million in sales within 3 months of its debut. It was also nominated for 3 Emmys in its inaugural season and maintained its popularity for the duration of its 5-year run, rating 27th in its final season. Reruns of The Rifleman continue to captivate audiences decades after their initial broadcast. According to a 2018 survey conducted by MeTV, it continued to be a favorite among viewers aged 55 and older. A significant challenge was presented to Chuck Connors following the conclusion of The Rifleman in 1963. The role of Lucas McCain had established him as a celebrity, but it also ensnared him in the stereotype of a Western hero. Viewers were unable to distinguish between Connors and the character, despite the fact that the program had 168 episodes and lasted for 5 seasons. This typecasting became an issue. Connors declined numerous opportunities to participate in additional westerns in order to demonstrate his ability to portray a variety of characters. In fact, he declined 8 Western TV programs within 2 years of The Rifleman's death. Although he anticipated that this would generate new prospects, it actually resulted in a temporary decline in his professional trajectory. Connors attempted a radical departure from his rancher image in the 1964 film Move Over, Darling. Alongside Doris Day and James Garner, he portrayed a formal, rigid banker. The film did not significantly benefit him, despite the fact that it was a significant departure from his rugged frontier portrayals. Producers and casting directors continued to perceive him as Lucas McCain. And even when he auditioned for non-Western roles, they frequently commented that he appeared too Western. Connors was so irritated by 1965 that he contemplated the possibility of returning to professional athletics and quitting acting. In spite of these obstacles, Connors was able to take advantage of new opportunities in 2 television programs that allowed him to showcase distinct aspects of his acting abilities. Connors portrayed John Egan, a defense counsel, in the television series Arrest and Trial, which aired from 1963 to 1964. The program was innovative in that it divided each 90-minute episode into 2 segments, the detective-led investigation and the courtroom drama featuring Connors as the counsel. Connors demonstrated his ability to portray a sophisticated, intellectual character by donning a suit rather than cowboy attire. His performance was lauded by critics. However, the program was terminated after only 1 season. In 1965, Connors returned to a Western with Brandon. However, this time, the narrative was distinctive. He portrayed Jason McCord, a cavalry officer who was falsely accused of cowardice and subsequently expelled from the army. McCord's quest to reclaim his honor and cleanse his name was the primary focus of the program. It lasted for 2 seasons, resulting in 48 episodes, and afforded Connors the opportunity to portray a character that was more intricate and emotional than his previous straightforward protagonists. In 1977, Connors delivered his most impactful performance as Tom Moore in the groundbreaking miniseries Roots. The series chronicled the life of an African-American family from the era of servitude to the present. Connors assumed the role of a cruel plantation proprietor, which was a stark contrast to his previous experiences. His chilling performance effectively conveyed the brutal realities of slavery without becoming overly caricatured. Approximately 100 million individuals viewed the final episode of the program, which was a resounding success. Connors' Emmy nomination was an uncommon honor that underscored his capacity to portray controversial, challenging characters. Connors made appearances in B-movies and television guest roles during the latter stages of his career. Tourist Trap, a 1979 horror film, was one of his most memorable portrayals. He portrayed Mr. Slauson, a museum proprietor who was surrounded by ominous mannequins. Initially, the film was not well received, however, it later became a cult classic. Additionally, Connors assumed unconventional roles, such as engaging in a battle with extraterrestrial beings in the 1980 low-budget science fiction film The Daytime Ended. She wrote that he appeared in prominent television programs such as The Love Boat, Fantasy Island, and Murder. He portrayed the villain, Janos Skorzeny, in the horror action series Werewolf from 1987 to 1988, showcasing a darker aspect of his acting. Chuck Connors' personal life was characterized by love, sorrow, and drama, much like the characters he portrayed on screen. His first marriage was to Elizabeth Jane Riddell, also known as Betty, a model from Montreal, Canada. In 1948, they encountered each other at a baseball contest that Chuck was participating in for the Montreal Royals. Betty was born into an affluent family, and their relationship progressed rapidly. Chuck was 27 years old and was still in the process of determining his vocation when he and his fiancée were united in matrimony on October 1, 1948. Michael, Jeffrey, Stephen, and Kevin were their 4 sons. At first, everything appeared to be in order. However, things began to unravel when Chuck's acting career took off, particularly after he gained the role of the Rifleman in 1958. He was absent for extended periods, conducting filming and professional endeavors, and rumors regarding his infidelity began to circulate. Their relationship became increasingly fraught in the background. Betty discovered that he was having an affair with an actress on one of his film locations in 1961. At that moment, she reached her breaking point. She initiated divorce proceedings, which were concluded in 1962. Despite their public demeanor, it was subsequently disclosed that Betty had threatened to disclose his affairs unless Chuck consented to her proposed divorce terms. In 1963, Chuck married Kamala Devi, an actress whom he had encountered on the Geronimo set. This was his second marriage. Kamala was born in Mumbai, India. At a time when interracial relationships were still uncommon, their marriage was particularly noteworthy in Hollywood due to her combined Indian and British heritage. They collaborated on numerous television programs and films, including Branded and Cowboy in Africa, and their robust rapport was admired both on and off the screen. But their relationship was not always without its ups and downs. Kamala suggested that Chuck pursue more sophisticated roles. However, Chuck believed that his rugged rancher persona was the reason for his success. Due to this disparity in objectives, tension ensued. Additionally, the marriage encountered complications due to Chuck's reputation for infidelity. Despite their initial enthusiasm, the situation began to unravel. In 1972, they divorced after 9 years of marriage. Their final film collaboration was The Proud and Damned, which appeared to be a melancholy reflection of their own relationship at the time. And potentially the most contentious. In 1973, he encountered Faith Quabius on the set of Soylent Green, in which she played a minor role. Faith was 33 years younger than Chuck. They were married in Mexico on September 7, 1977, in a private ceremony. Chuck, who was 56 at the time, joked that they had been portraying husband and wife on stage for so long that they had decided to make it real. However, their union was brief, ending after 3 years. As of 1980, they were divorced. Faith subsequently accused Chuck of being abusive during their marriage, attributing his behavior to his alcohol. Chuck refuted the allegations, however, they undermined his public image. Rumors of affairs and turbulent relationships persisted throughout Connor's lifetime. Infidelity was the subject of murmurs during his initial marriage. Additionally, they never abandoned him. In the 1960s, a woman claimed that she had a long-term affair with Connors and that he fathered her child. However, this claim was never substantiated. Connor's provocative demeanor became widely recognized on the set. Actress Joan Crawford once stated that he could entice the birds from the trees, but he was unable to maintain his loyalty. He was even denied professional opportunities due to his reputation, as certain actresses declined to collaborate with him. In a notorious 1975 incident, Connors was allegedly captured in a compromising situation with a young actress at a party. He reportedly lost a significant film role as a result of the scandal, which was kept under wraps. The strain that his lifestyle imposed on his family was discussed by his children from his first marriage. Later, Jeffrey Connors disclosed that his father's constant pursuit of adrenaline had an impact on those in his vicinity. Connors seldom addressed the rumors, despite the controversies. He contemplated the fact that he had lived his life on his own terms as he approached the end of his existence. Some may not endorse my decision, however, I have no remorse. Chuck Connors' political convictions distinguished him in Hollywood. Chuck participated in a pro-war parade in New York City in 1967, when the majority of Hollywood was opposed to the Vietnam War. He was praised by a significant number of individuals, while others criticized him. Chuck did not merely discuss his convictions. He made a concerted effort to provide them with assistance. He provided assistance to Republican candidates, particularly Barry Goldwater, during the 1964 presidential election. This had a detrimental impact on his professional trajectory. However, Chuck was indifferent. He once stated, "I would rather forfeit my principles than lose my job." He was even approached to run for Congress in 1972, however, he ultimately elected to remain in the acting industry. There were numerous disputes regarding the Vietnam War. However, Chuck maintained his convictions. He was in favor of the conflict and disagreed with the protesters. He participated in a march in 1967 in solidarity with American soldiers. He stated, "We are currently engaged in the fight against communism in that region, therefore, we are not required to do so in this location." This did not set well with many in Hollywood, and he even engaged in arguments with his co-stars about it. During the production of Soylent Green, he engaged in a contentious discussion with Charlton Heston regarding the conflict. Chuck did not merely converse. Between 1968 and 1972, he frequently visited Vietnam to demonstrate his support. Chuck was disheartened by the inadequate treatment of the veterans following the conflict. He stated that they were entitled to parades, not protests, and that the nation had failed to fulfill their expectations. The Soviet Union's affection for Chuck's program, The Rifleman, was one of the most unexpected aspects of his career. The Rifleman was one of the few American programs that were permitted on Soviet television during the 1960s and 1970s, a period of elevated tension between the United States and the Soviet Union. People admired Lucas McCain's character because he was a forceful father who advocated for justice. The program was viewed by approximately 250 million Soviet citizens by 1973. Leonid Brezhnev, the Soviet leader, was also an avid admirer. In 1973, during his visit to Washington, D.C., Brezhnev requested to meet with Chuck Connors. This meeting resulted in an extraordinary outcome. Brezhnev extended an invitation to Chuck to visit Moscow later that year. Chuck was accorded the same level of respect as a celebrity during his 2-week stay. He encountered Brezhnev at the Kremlin, and the two engaged in a playful competition with the weapons that Chuck had previously given him. Additionally, Chuck attended a special screening of The Rifleman, which was met with enormous enthusiasm from admirers who sought his autograph. Chuck produced a documentary entitled Peace and Friendship during this journey, which was broadcast on Soviet television to millions of viewers. Chuck was depicted in the documentary engaging in conversations with ordinary Soviet citizens regarding the potential for mutual understanding between the United States and the Soviet Union. Connors played one final unique role a year prior to his passing. On November 3, 1991, he made his television debut in the film The Gambler Returns, The Luck of the Draw, which starred Kenny Rogers. Lucas McCain, the most renowned character in The Rifleman, was portrayed by Connors in a brief but unforgettable scene. He donned McCain's traditional attire and wielded the renowned Winchester rifle. McCain challenges the gambler to a shooting contest in the scenario. Even though the scene was brief, approximately 90 seconds, it evoked recollections of Connors' most beloved role. Fans were overjoyed to witness him in his final performance as McCain. Johnny Crawford, who portrayed his son Mark in The Rifleman, also appeared in the film, which rendered the occasion even more exceptional. They shared a brief yet poignant scene, which brought immense joy to their devoted followers. The film received favorable reviews and served as an appropriate farewell to Connors' most renowned portrayal. Doctors discovered that he had lung cancer at the age of 71. This was most likely due to his excessive smoking, which included up to 3 cartons of cigarettes per day. The fans were taken aback, as Connors was consistently depicted as robust and in good health. Initially, he refrained from disclosing his illness to a significant number of individuals and continued to participate in public events. However, his condition significantly worsened by October 1992. In addition to pneumonia, he was transported to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles on October 28, which exacerbated circumstances. He remained in that location for 13 days, battling the illness despite the best efforts of the medical professionals. Regrettably, Connors passed away on November 10, 1992. Lung cancer was the primary cause of mortality, with pneumonia serving as a significant contributing factor. Many individuals were deeply saddened by his passing. And admirers, athletes, and co-stars who adored him paid tribute to him. A significant legacy was left by Connors. His program, The Rifleman, remains a beloved favorite among viewers and is still broadcast on television. It influenced the portrayal of solitary fathers on television and served as an inspiration to other Westerners. Connors also made history in the realm of sports. He was one of only 13 individuals to have played in both the National Basketball Association, NBA, and the Major League Baseball, MLB. He made history in 1946 by becoming the first player to ever break a backboard during a contest while playing for the Boston Celtics. This occurred during warm-ups prior to the Celtics' inaugural home contest. Although Connors' baseball career was brief, he had a significant influence in other capacities. In 1966, he assisted in the resolution of a contract dispute between the Los Angeles Dodgers and 2 pitchers, Sandy Koufax and Don Drysdale. This was a significant juncture that granted participants greater control in the sport of baseball.